Well, is this the collapse of the country? What do you think? That's what I want to talk about today. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to Integrated Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. For those of you who haven't been here before, who just fell into this or wandered by, it's good to have you. We talk about preparedness here and all the things, some of the things going on in the world and why they make us know and understand that we need to be prepared for more things all the time, don't we? Let's get this first one done. You new people won't understand this. That's all right. Stay around long enough to be old people and you will. But the old people understand this. Let's get rid of those, shall we? Okay. After I get done with this, I will be designing the new graphics for the new cups, for the Stonemont cups. Yes, I know. A lot of you have asked about those, and I'm anxious to get those. I'm eager. That was an improper use of the word anxious, because I have no anxiety. I am eager to get those out there to you. Is this the end? Is this the collapse of the country, the United States of America? I just put two up over on the Reversion channel, American Reversion. If you're interested in what I think about that, come over and watch those. I know I have a lot of people who are already over there, but that's where we talk about the politics more than we do here on this channel, which is more preparedness. But the two, when you're going through what's going through in this country, the two are very closely aligned. Yes. And the short answer, yes, I think this is the collapse of the country. It's been a long time coming. If you've read John Glubb's Fate of Empires, and I highly recommend that you should. As a matter of fact, I talk about it in one of my books. Yeah, these are my books. I talk about it there. He traces a number of empires, and he shows what causes their genesis, their ascent, the height of the empire, their dissension, and then their collapse. And pretty much all of them go through the same stages, and we have gone through those stages, and we are now in the descent and the collapse. And, just like a snowball rolling down a hill, the bigger it gets, the faster it goes, the faster it keeps going, right? And so those times are coming, and they are coming hard, and a lot of it has to do with what's going on politically with this latest thing with them indicting Trump, and I cover that in detail on the American Reversion channel. And I think that could precipitate the collapse of this country. In addition to all of the other things, right? The economy, politics, a double system of justice. I already mentioned this on the other channel, but I'll say it here too. This idea that it's some big surprise that there are, two tiers of justice. I tuned into Hannity last night, that shill, and because I just wanted to see what he was going to say. And he said the same thing. He gets on some of the brightest people in the world. He's not one of them. He gets on some of the smartest people in the world, Dershowitz, many other people. And he goes through, instead of letting them talk and explain and sharing some of their brilliance and maybe he might learn something, he will hammer on the same thing over and over. He'll say, he'll talk about Hillary and he'll talk about Biden and then he'll say, and nothing happens to them and then all this is coming down on Trump. Does that mean that we don't live in a country of laws, that there is a different standard of justice for different people? Duh, and then, these brilliant guys who ought to be allowed to speak just, go, yeah, Sean, that's what an idiot. That's nothing new. It has always been like that. There has always been a different standard of justice for different people. Big discovery, if he doesn't know that. I know he's doing it for views, and he's doing it for the very, very medium intelligent, people that just want to get riled up. Getting riled up serves absolutely no purpose unless you're going to do something with that. Okay, but anyway, so we know what's happening with our borders. We know what's happening with our economy. We know what's happening with our military. We know what's happening with our politics. We know all of that. And I have asked in the past, and people have said, we're wandering into just a little bit of politics here, but I'm going to come back to preparedness. And I've always said, people have asked, when is it going to be enough? When are people going to, and you've seen it in the comments, maybe you're one who have left that comment. When is it going to be enough? When are the American people going to stand up and say enough and do something about this? And I've always said, who knows, because most people live pretty good lives. Most people on our side live pretty good lives. And you can't get people who are fat and happy to all rise up against the system that has made them fat and happy, right? And for the most part, people on our side, we're not victims, we're not whiners, we're not complainers, except about stuff like this. But our lives are pretty good, you know. And so it's difficult to get people riled up when they're living a good life. I mean, at least to the extent that they're going to do anything about it. And my point has always been that in order for anything to change, you have to get enough people upset enough at the same time. Well, I think this might do it. And without getting into the details, because I already have over on American Reversion, I think this might do it. And I think that somewhere on this, I don't think this is it. I mean, the indictment of Trump is not going to do it. It's getting more people upset, sure. It's opening the eyes of some, sure. But if he gets convicted, and certainly if he gets imprisoned, that I think is that might be it. That might be it. However, the dangers occur everywhere along this road. Everything that's happening is another crack in the foundation of our country. Now, I've already made the point over there, we are not a nation. The people who believe that we're a nation are a little bit they don't understand what a nation is, I'll just put it that way. We are a country. And I will throw this out. A nation is a group of people held together by common history, a common background, a common belief system, a common religion, a common set of foundational principles, a common culture, a common language. That is a nation. The United States of America is not a nation, and it never has been. It's always been, at least since early 1800s, something like that. We have always been an amalgamation, a combination of different groups with different interests, in many cases different languages, in many cases different belief systems. We have always been that synthetic country, brought together of people who felt differently about a lot of things. In this case, I think it's a wonder that we've lasted this long. But we are not a nation, we are a country. And a country that experiences this much fragmentation, that produces this much anger. We've already seen the anger on the other side, you know, that wants to make themselves victims about everything in the world. But finally, the anger is building to, I think, a crescendo on the right, and we might see this as the final fragmentation that causes the collapse of the country. Okay, so there's our poli-sci lesson for today. So what happens? It becomes very dangerous times. These are times that we haven't had before. Now you could argue that we had them in the 1850s, even the 1840s, building up into the 50s, and then the war. But it's a little bit different. Matter of fact, it's much different. And I won't go into the history of that war. I do that a lot, again, in my books. And if you haven't read my books, you'll learn a lot. Even if you have or don't, you know, whatever, study that war that they mistakenly call the Civil War. And if you are willing to learn something, and you go deep enough, you will learn that was in no way a civil war. Okay, it was pitched that way. It was. I won't go into it now. The difference between then and now is that our fragmentation lines, you know, the tectonic plates are grinding against each other in ways that are not as easily delineated as it was during the War of Northern Aggression. Okay, not nearly. These fractures go all through our country, all through our communities, all through our neighborhoods, even all through our families. People feel that differently about things. So this is why there is no cohesion as a nation. There is only the forceful, continued membership, you know, required membership of the citizenry in a country required by law. Okay, but our beliefs are all over the place. Our belief systems don't match up, and I don't mean just religious belief systems. I mean in the belief of the foundational principles on which we live and build our lives and raise our kids. So this is probably the most dangerous time, I think, in our country since the 1850s. Your preparedness has to take that into consideration. This is not going to be one of those, it's definitely not going to be a bug out situation. Okay, it's going to be a situation in which, and it's the things for which we prepare, that all sorts of things could happen. Our food delivery, we see that I've said this, I've seen shortages coming up in stores before. Many of you have said you have too. Our grid is going to be overloaded soon, even if it's not attacked. We're going through a very active solar cycle. The economy is, I mean, it is balancing on a razor's edge. Crime is through the roof. Cities will burn again this summer. The border is, you know, a screen door in a submarine. Illegals are spilling into our country, being assisted by our government, which is against the American people. They are for the commies who live here, but they are against those of us who believe in the principles on which our America, our country, was based. And I talk over there on American Reversion about this might be the beginning of a new America, but that's not for this. But it brings dangers. Each of these brings dangers in and of itself. Each one of these threats is a danger. Brought together, it's almost beyond a person's ability to keep track of everything to the extent that they are prepared for anything. But that's where basic preparedness comes in. The most important thing to think about right now, because I will go on the assumption that you are basically prepared. For those of you who are just kind of getting started, I'm going to post on the Patreon channel, that link is down below, an old video that I did, one of my very first videos. And it's about, I think it's the next step or something like that, I call it. And I don't believe it's available anymore on the YouTube side, but I'm going to put it over on the Patreon channel. It's everything you know. I explain exactly how to stock food. You don't have to go out and buy these expensive 25-year in a bucket taste like crap things, okay? You don't have to get MREs. You don't have to get, it's basic stuff you can get at your store. And I'll put that over there. Do that, and get started, because you are going to need it. Things are going to be happening in this country that you want to be as self-sufficient as you can possibly be. You want to remember those basic things, right? Food, water, shelter, defense, family, team, people. Those are the things. Those are the basics. Now you can go on to very, very advanced preparedness. If you want to do that, and you haven't read my books, those who have read my books will tell you that this is the complete plan of how to prepare for, how to survive, and how to rebuild after a total collapse of everything. It will help you in any part of your preparedness life that you're involved in now. It's the Stonemont series. It's available on Amazon. I'll put the link down below. In paperback or Kindle, and it's available directly through me at my website, stonemont.us. That's down below too. You can get them there. This is advanced preparedness. This is advanced. This shows how a single family who was simply prepared but had it right up here was able to not only be ready for the greatest calamity that ever happened, but also able to help other people, and as a result drew in more that became a community, and then they started to rebuild society the way it should be built. If you haven't read them, I think you'd love them, and you should. Become a Stonemonter, and then you too will be interested in getting a Stonemont mug to do with it what those of us who know already know is its purpose. Boy, was that convoluted enough? Did that intrigue you? Because some of you know. Very, very dangerous times ahead. Be as you need a broad spectrum of preparedness. You need to cover all of the bases, and you need to either start or increase your preparedness right now, because the things that are coming down the road, we can't foretell. Okay, remember when the shortages hit? All of a sudden, bam, nobody was paying attention, and now you can't get toilet paper, you can't get this, you can't get that, you couldn't get dog food, you couldn't get a lot of things. We are seeing that. We are seeing a backup at the ports again on the left coast. We're seeing all sorts of shortages, food shortages. I didn't even get into that. Food shortages because of the destruction of flocks and herds for whatever reason, right? Whatever reason, our food supply is being destroyed. Simple as that. If you can't provide for your own food, you're going to be in big trouble. And that starts with stocking up, having enough stocked so that you can last until you can provide through raising and growing your own food. That has to be your ultimate goal, to be self-sufficient. These days are these are days of trouble coming our way, and you need to either get started or you need to up your preparedness to the best of your ability. And I understand that not everybody can do it the same way or to the same extent, but you have to do your best, because the world, has a way of stomping on your head real quick and without warning if you're not ready. Okay. Yeah. A collapse of the country, I think it could very possibly be coming. We will see how it comes. Does it come subtly? Does it continue gradually? Because it's already started. We will know. We will see as it progresses, but every step on that collapse is a new danger point that you have to be ready for and you have to prepare for. So you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. If you're not with us on Patreon, you ought to be. The link is down below. It's only $1 a month, or you can go to the next step. You can go to the Stonemont level if you would like. You get a lot more over there than I ever put on YouTube. And if you haven't read the books, the Stonemont series, first off, it's a great story. People have been learning out of these books since 2017, all around the world. And if you haven't read them, I hope that you will. Again, the links are down below. You all have a good day. Do the best you can today, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.